Good day. Welcome to this lecture series in Godot.
Hello, good day, welcome back. In this video, we will create an area outside of the game scene such that when the enemies go out of the game scene, so they go out of here, we can detect the enemies have gone outside and we can delete them. So let's go ahead and get started. So let's start the game. So we have the enemies and this is coming. You can kill some, but some, this is a game, so some enemies might bypass the player and will go outside. Now, this is essentially a similar issue to rockets. We don't want when you have the enemies outside, we can have a situation now where you try to cause, like, let's say, performance issues, just like we was having in rockets. So we want, just like how when the rockets go across here, we want the rockets to be deleted. The same way when we have the enemies go across maybe about here, we want the enemies deleted. So what we will do is create a new node inside of the game scene called the death zone. The death zone will delete the enemies that go inside of it. And the death zone will be an area 2D. So I will give you a challenge. Create an area 2D in the game scene and rename it to death zone. Then create a script for the game scene. So we call it game.gd. Remember, script is called GD script. Then connect the area entered signal of the dead zone to the game.gd script. Then call the die function of the enemy and a callback and a signal callback. So first create a new area 2D. So select this node, the root node is a node 2D. Then go by the plus sign here and type in area, select area 2D, click create, rename the area 2D to death zone. I'll create a collision shape because all area 2Ds really need a collision shape. Create. The collision shape is going to be a rectangle. You will adjust this. So I'm selecting move tool. I'll carry this a bit backwards because I want the enemies to be deleted after they come off the screen. So this here, we have the collision shape. This is the dead zone. You want to go to signals, you want to use the area entered, but we can't do that because this does not have a script. So we'll create a new script. We'll select the game, create a new script, and I'll go by script solar here. Game script, create. So now that we have the script, we can select the dead zone, double click the area entered, make sure this is selected game, press correct. Godot has created the callback function for us. Bring up this. We know that the area that is being passed is the area that entered the dead zone. We know it's going to be the enemy, so go to type area dot die. This will work because the enemy has a die function. I'll delete this. You want to make sure no other area 2Ds enter this dead zone because this will generate an error because it will call the function die, and if it don't have a die function in that obviously scene, it will cause a problem. So what we'll do, we'll go to the project settings, we'll create a new layer called dead zone, close. We'll make sure this dead zone is selected. Go by the inspector, you need to go by the collision object settings, open up collision, put this on layer 4, so take it off layer 1. The death zone needs to check for the enemy only, and the enemies on there too. Max enemy here, and this max death zone. I'll save and save in a while. You should also go to the scene for the enemy. So to the scene for the enemy, and then the enemy checks for the death zone as well. When the enemy enters the death zone, the enemy is supposed to get deleted or supposed to be deleted. So now let's test this. Let's press play. Go across here. You click the remote tab. You see at any point in time you only have like about 3 enemies outside. So this is 26. Deleted. Deleted. Sometimes just 2. So the enemy is being deleted. We had the same issue with the rocket, so let's go to the rocket see most of this for the rocket. For the rocket we use the visibility modifier, but I mean for this we use the death zone. There's more than one way to do something in programming. So I mean we achieved the objectives for this video here. So I'll end this video here. Thank you.